Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today as I bring you into our next chapter of Coffee and Cards. Let's chat. If this is your first time here, welcome very much. My name is Lisa T-Brink. Please take a moment to consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to this video. It really truly does help little artists like me in the YouTube community. Also, I upload 2 times a week. I upload on Wednesdays and Fridays. So today we're going to get into a larger than life personality and someone that most everybody knows who she is. She's actually related to me, and this is not a joke at all. I am talking about Norma Jean Baker, aka Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe is related to me through John Alden. So, John Alden was a man who came over on the Mayflower. There's a John Alden house that has different types of bricks there that have names on them. And Marilyn Monroe's is very close to my grandma T. Brink's. So, Marilyn Monroe is the eighth great grand, like her, John Alden was her eighth great grandfather, great 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 grandfather. John Alden is my 10th great 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 grandfather. So we do have a relation. John Alden also perished on the Titanic, but a very influential business person, and he did a whole lot. I encourage you to go and check him out. Maybe I'll do a video about him someday, but this one is going to be about my cousin Marilyn. Of course, I am nowhere near as beautiful as she was, but Marilyn had quite a life, and I wanted to read some cards to see what I could come up with and see if I could have any insight into her death. Because I have to have notes. Norma Jean Morrison was born June 1st, 1926 in Los Angeles. She died August 4th, 1962, which made her only 36 years old. She was very young. She also went by Norma Jean Baker due to one of her numerous marriages. Norma Jean did not have a lovely upbringing. She grew up mostly in foster care, bounced back and forth between her mother Gladys and the system. She also had her mother, unfortunately, was very mental ill. She had another sister that she didn't even know about until she met her at age 12. And Marilyn's, Norma Jean Marilyn, we're just going to call her Marilyn. Marilyn's upbringing was not good. She was abused both mentally and physically. She was sexually abused. She spoke about a time that she had been raped at a very young age by a family friend. And of course, she suffered herself from mental illness. She got married at the age of 16 to her first husband, James Doherty. And at the age of 16, Marilyn was also working very hard at the World War II effort, to help on the line, basically to build whatever they needed built to help out with a work efforts as the men of the United States went off the war. While she was there, she was discovered by a photographer who took several pictures of her. Very iconic. They ended up in Look magazine later on, but what Marilyn was known for was her scantily nude, very X-rated at the time, pictures that would end up being the very first spread in Playboy. The very first magazine that Playboy ever put out was with Marilyn Monroe as their centerfold figure. Obviously, Marilyn went on to have a lot of different types of success with her acting and modeling career. However, nobody took her seriously. She was actually a very smart woman who was battling demons with her mental illness and endometriosis and many other things in her life that made her quite sick. Um, and she acted out a lot. She also was dependent on drugs and alcohol, especially barbiturates, and she acted out a lot. Her marriages were not successful. She was married 3 times in total, also to baseball legend Joe DiMaggio, who everyone equates that Marilyn was actually the love of his life, and playwright Arthur Miller, who wrote the play The Crucible, but also was very famous for other things. That's just the one that he is most well known for. We have sprinkled Chanel number 5 around my room to be inspired by her spirit. And nothing pisses me off more than seeing her in a Dior commercial because that fragrance hasn't been around that long. It's only been about 30 or 40 years. But Marilyn Monroe wore Chanel number 5, and um, I sold Chanel for a very long time, so I'm really well versed in what she liked and what she didn't, and I wanted to spray it around my room to kind of invite her in, and also to remind me of what my grandma's room used to smell like. So that was kind of a nice little thing for me. So on my coffee and cards, what I do is, like I said, I explain to you the person or the situation that I'm going to talk about, and then I tell you what I have read already. Because quite frankly, I don't have 2 cameras yet. If I ever get to the point to that, yay! But I don't have 2 cameras, so I will show you the cards, but I've already pretty much done the reading. If I see something new, I will tell you. Things can change. Nothing is set in stone, and um, the past can be interpreted very differently, and cards can be interpreted very differently. So I used the Rider Tarot deck. And for those of you who don't know me or know much about tarot, this is my deck. I learned on this deck. I compare every single deck to this one. This is one of the original decks. A lot of people have learned on this one, but this is the one that I am using. I'm very confident in this deck, so I'm happy that I finally have this deck back in my hands because I had unfortunately lost the first set that I had that was actually gifted to me for a very lovely friend. But I digress. I ask 3 specific questions. The first question that I ask about Marilyn was, did she in fact commit suicide? I know it's a rather personal question. However, that's what everybody wanted us to believe. So I had to ask. So what I got card wise was the Fool reversed, the 6 of Pentacles reversed, and the 4 of Pentacles straight up. So a lot of people, I just want to insert this here, have a preference of how they read their cards. They don't necessarily read reversed because a card means both at the same time. It is based on the fact that knowledge and time are not linear. It is unpredictable, and what it's like the Schrodinger's cat. You're both alive and dead at the same time. Uh, it's a lot of philosophy in there, and you do your own philosophy on it. However, I choose not to normally read reverse cards except in this deck. So, because I think you get a more accurate portrayal, and there are several cards in this deck actually that I got in this reading that mean both face up and face down. So, very interesting. But I asked if she had killed herself, and what I really got out of these first 3 cards is she was quite foolish. She was teetering on the edge and doing things that she knew she should not have been doing because of having her head in the clouds. And I don't know if it was a mental thing, meaning if it was a mental break that was making her act this way, or she was actually really swept up and in love and actually thought she was untouchable with the knowledge that she had that was going to protect her. So I'll show you a little more. The second one was the Six of uh, Pentacles reversed, and Pentacles mean money. Um, while looking at this card, you see a figure uh, looking like he is equally distributing his wealth to these two figures. But as you can see, there's two for the one in blue, three for the one in yellow, and one for the person who is handing out whatever he is handing out. Honestly, I only saw one person in this when I first picked it up, and besides the man, I didn't see the person in yellow at all. I saw the person in blue. And what this meant to me seeing this is there is a very strong figure that has been spoon feeding lies and spoon feeding comfort via money and words and uh, a safety of a home situation. But he was also feeding somebody else. So, marital affair. Um, Obviously, there's a lot of money based in this card because it is a Pentacles card. We call it the coins, but this is more of a marital affair, and this is more of an unequal distribution. As you can see, there's the hands of or the scales of justice in his hand. There is no justice here for either one of these people. They're completely dependent on this person who is spoon feeding them both lies. And then we have the Four of Pentacles. Again, coins that are, this one was faced up, but this is something I consider a little bit different because this person is holding everything very close to the neck, close to the heart, so to speak. There's also one above the head, which is very interesting. To me, this means that Marilyn had some information that she believed was foolproof. She believed that the information that she had would protect her. And maybe even the fact that she believed this man would protect her. She knew what was going on. She could see the whole picture, but she believed foolishly that her information, her coin was worth more than somebody else's. But she believed with everything in her that what she held dear, meaning the love relationship that she had with this man and the information that she had, which was pretty dirty, she believed she was bulletproof almost. She didn't think that, um, she didn't believe that the information that she had would bring an end to her, which it did. She believed that she held everything in her hands. She had the key, she had the power, she had everything, but it was a foolish thing to believe. It was a foolish errand. It was a foolish situation that she had put herself in and had her head up in the clouds and was very willing to believe that the vital information that she had was enough to save her life. It was not. She thought she was protected, and she wasn't. The next one I ask, and this is why I want to tell you about the man that I specifically asked for. I ask of Robert K. RFK, Robert Fitzgerald Kennedy, facilitated her death. So we've got the Page of Wands that came up reversed. Again, a lot of reverse cards. The oh gosh, is the nine? The nine of swords, which is pretty telling. And that one was reversed. And then we have the seven, or I'm sorry, the eight of cups. That was up. Straight up. So my thought process seeing this, and just I actually had to go back and read about this because it's been a while. The page represents bad news and danger. Um, so this page, if you don't know what a page is, it's usually someone who is the messenger. So Marilyn had news, but the messenger was sent to kill her. So he brought nothing but bad news to her. I'm not saying that RFK himself killed her. I'm saying on his orders, she was silenced. And someone was there to carry out this task. The man that she loved in her life at that point was extremely dangerous. He was only looking in one direction, and it was to protect himself, not her. And um, this reminded me very much of the stage scene that happened at Marilyn's house. She clearly has been stabbed in the back and has many, many swords above her, meaning that these are held by a thread and they will drop on you at any time. Interesting enough, it also has a nightstand next to her, which supposedly had all these drugs that it was proven in science that it was not possible for her to consume that amount of um, barbiturates and drugs and water without passing out well before she did, even as a high drug user. But since this is reversed, it is a lot darker. This is pain and suffering. This is pain brought down upon her. And this is also pure shock of, I thought I was protected by all of these points, and these points were all used against me. I can't believe this is happening. Um, it also shows a miscarriage. I think she was pregnant. Um, she did have many different miscarriages in her life. She had botched abortions. She had endometriosis, which I also suffer with, which means you probably will never be able to get pregnant yet carry a baby to term. It just depends. But in that particular time period, there wasn't much. There still isn't much to be done, but there really, really wasn't much to be done about endo back then. But I think she was pregnant with at least one person's in position's baby, but lost it recently. Because that's not just a pain of backstabbing, that's a pain of something beyond our understanding. Um, and then this last one is one that is the same, both face up and reverse. And this is it's concern, but you can tell where the concern lies. He is leaving all of these things behind and going forward. It's also a eclipse, so it is a new journey for him. But I also see that the moment he did this, he sealed his own fate. That's why it's in red. I'm sorry, I'm just getting this now. I feel like this is definitely a journey card. It was a journey that he was going to leave behind, but he sealed his own fate when he did this. And I still feel like whatever Marilyn knew is out there somewhere. I really do. The last thing I ask her is, what can we learn from you? What can we learn from this situation? This is interesting. I got the Four of Wands reversed, but it means the same thing. Up or down. I got the King of Swords reversed and the Ace of Cups upside up, right side up, which is actually the luckiest card in the deck. So what you see here, what we can learn from Marilyn, is she wanted to focus on the home and the contentment of that home. And whatever that means to you, she did not have it. She wished that she did. This is a card of great joy and contentment in the home. And she was spent her entire life trying to capture an idealistic view of this, what a home life could be, what it should be. It never measured up in real life to what her image was. So she struggled with difficulty with reality and her fantasy, and unfortunately, it was made worse by her mental illness. Um, she looked to a powerful and commanding authority in her life. So she spent her life looking for an authority to command her, and that is literally the words that are used: a powerful commander over authority. Power commands authority. She is telling us that, um, be careful, because powerful people can influence any sort of authority. So, someone who is powerful, say has a lot of money, can influence lawyers and police officers and people who, whatever. But she was attracted to these types of powerful men and didn't realize that they could also control her. The Ace of Cups is the luckiest card. This is true contentment and true joy. As you can see, or maybe not, there is a dove on there, which, this is a happy card, content in her, I hate saying this, in her death. She has found peace in her death. She has a understanding of a situation that she didn't. She has clarity now where she didn't before. She learned, and this actually makes me very, very sad, because she had these strong men in her life. She had people that used her all through her life, and she did the best that she could, and she wanted to be loved and had the affection. Um, and she thought at one point that her power could corrupt authority too, but it really backfired on her. So I do feel very sad for her that her life and her legacy was cut short by a mistake that she made, but she paid for it in her life. And I still believe that I just feel like there's documents out there that still exist that explain exactly what Marilyn knew. And then I get a conversation, or I get a thought process about, well, has she reincarnated? I don't think so. And I am not an expert in that part by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think she has reincarnated at all. I don't think she's going to for a bit. And when she does, because she will eventually, it will be a very specific purpose. And I think she's going to be a lot stronger. She's not going to come back as a beautiful woman, because no one takes a beautiful woman seriously. That's why people, they listen to me, because I am not a beautiful woman. So, but they don't take a sex symbol like that. And she does not like what she's been made into. All of these people are using her Sorry, using her for quotes, things like that. She was known for an image. She had a mind, she had a brain, she was actually very smart. Um, but her mistakes led to her death. She did not kill herself. She didn't kill herself, and she did not deserve what happened to her. Um, so I am going to close it from there. If you have any questions or want me to do any sort of follow-up on this video, let me know by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I want to thank you again for joining me today for Coffee and Cards. Let's talk. If you check my website out, www.lisatbrink.com. That is where you can purchase a reading from me. I'm happy to do those. And I hope that you have a great day or night wherever you are. Remember, every single day that you wake up is a gift. Use your time wisely. I will see you guys on Friday. All right. Bye.